Brian Giles is 55 years old. He can't work anymore, can't even go for short walks like he used to. Instead, he stays at home and spends his last few days recalling happier times, such as those he spent with his extended family. And when he feels well enough, he might spend some time with his favorite hobbies. But mostly he relies on puffers to get through the day. Brian says his illness started here at Gunter Mealy, a packaging company in Brantford, Ontario. He loved his work until one day he was told to remove old ceiling tiles that held back masses of loose asbestos, but no one had warned him.
We went up on a scaffold and I started breaking the ceiling tiles down, and that's when all the dust particles started falling. The dust was really, really bad, and there was no mask, no safety equipment, because I didn't know that it was asbestos at the time.
13 years later, Brian was diagnosed with asbestosis and told he had but a few years left to live. So Brian went to the workers' comp, the WSIB, for help. But there was a problem. His company, Gunter Mealy, had reported that Brian's illness was not related to his work at the plant. And the WSIB went along with this, not with the medical testimony of Brian's doctors.
I despise my company. I despise comp because nobody's doing nothing. The company should at least admit they were wrong, but they won't. And comp should just settle, because it's been proven where I got sick. So they should just settle it and get it over with so I can get on with my life.
What the WSIB is doing to Brian is cruel and inhumane. And it's tragic when you think about it. Brian, sadly, may not be here to see the end result of a very long and difficult process of appeals. This is cruel and extremely inhumane.
Unknown to Brian, a great change had come over the WSIB over the years. A change designed to make drastic cuts to injured worker benefits.
In order to deal with what the government understands to be a financial crisis in this whole austerity thing, they appointed a fellow by the name of I. David Marshall to be the president of the Workers' Compensation Board, or the WSIB. This man has no background in workers' compensation. He was a diplomat in, I think, Barbados. He was a banker, and he comes in to fix the board. If he's successful, in addition to his paycheck of $400,000 per year, at the end of his contract, he will receive a 20% bonus on each of those years for another payment of $400,000. In addition, injured workers are incensed about this, absolutely incensed. How can this man receive this amount of money and the task that he is undertaking is to do us harm?
Since becoming head of WSIB, Mr. Marshall has cut compensation claims to injured workers by 50%.
Pisses me off. Comp won't settle because according to comp, there's a 2-year time frame where I have to be exposed to it. But that's what I'm fighting now. But it shouldn't matter because what I was exposed to was a really, really high level, not small doses. But you can't get that across to them because they already have their own rules.
All it takes is one fiber, and clearly you would think you got more than one fiber, even if it was just for a week. Let's say for argument's sake, which I don't believe for a minute. Brian, we know for a fact by Brian's work history he was exposed for over 20 years. But that 1 week, can you imagine pulling tiles down, fibers and dust and everything flying every which way, and not wearing any type of protective equipment to protect you? How could he not have contracted one fiber, let alone hundreds?
I'm on puffers all the time, just to breathe. I can't do nothing because my lungs won't allow me. I used to go out and walk all the time. Can't. I can still walk, but I have to carry inhalers with me to walk. I have to sleep with a sleep machine for the rest of my life. Just to breathe at night.
Having been completely denied compensation by the WSIB, Brian's only hope rests with the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal. But he has to wait in line, and he fears this meeting will come too late.
For us to get our day in court, so to speak, we've went through the application process, and sadly, the tribunal is inundated with appeals of people like Brian and many other ill or injured workers that have been denied from the WSIB. And now they're all in the tribunal's queue, so to speak, and they have to wait for their day in court. And sadly, Brian and many others may not be here to get their day in court.
I want to be able to enjoy life. In the way things go right now, I can't. I'd like to enjoy what I have left.